Good morning from the Mischief Gallery. We're going to do a little YouTube video here this morning, and I want to tell you a little story about a good friend of mine by the name of Cinnamon Black. She is New Orleans' premier voodoo priestess in the French Quarter at this time, and a New Orleans icon. My beautiful friend Cinnamon is not only a voodoo priestess, but she is also a Mardi Gras Indian and a New Orleans baby doll. So we're going to highlight one of my creations today that is a celebration of Cinnamon, and just talk about her story just a little bit. And we have to start with Marie Laveau. Who hasn't heard the name of Marie Laveau? Marie Laveau is one of the most historical ladies in New Orleans society. Specifically, if you come to the French Quarter in New Orleans, most likely you're going to visit Cemetery Number 1 and go to Marie Laveau's tomb. This is celebration of Marie Laveau, one of my Mischief dolls. So let me just give you a background on the Mischief dolls and voodoo. A lot of people see my dolls and they say, oh, voodoo dolls. Mischief dolls are not voodoo dolls. They are dolls that are a celebration of the people and culture of Louisiana. And Marie Laveau is one of the most historical ladies in New Orleans society. So thus we have the celebration of Marie Laveau doll, which is very, very unique. She's made out of sari silk with a Turkish leather. And so who we're going to talk about today is somebody who's a good friend of mine, Cinnamon Black. And I have made several versions of Cinnamon. Cinnamon is a voodoo priestess, and you will find her in the New Orleans French Quarter at the Voodoo Museum at 524 Dumaine Street. So if you're visiting New Orleans, make sure you go by the Voodoo Museum. Cinnamon will most probably be there on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Call the museum before you go if you want to make sure you're there and can see her when you go. But she's a very beautiful, interesting lady. And I decided to make some versions of her a couple years ago. So I have actually made 6 or 7 versions of Cinnamon. Many of them reside out of state. There's one in Germany, there's one in California, one in Arizona, one in Chicago, and 2 of them do reside with Cinnamon. This is one of the few that I have here at the gallery right now. So let's move Marie Laveau out of the way and make room for today's premier voodoo priestess, Cinnamon Black. Let's just lay her down here. And here we have my version of Cinnamon. She is got little legs under there, just to give you an idea. See the little legs? She is built around a doll stand. This is a beautiful ceramic base that she stands on, made by an artist friend of mine, Carol Matherly. Carol made this one specifically for this doll. I gave her a piece of the fabric before I created the doll, and she created the base. All Mischief dolls like to stand on a pedestal, so we're going to put Miss Cinnamon Black up here. And there she is. She's made out of vintage sari silk. One of the most iconic things I can tell you about Cinnamon is she dresses exquisitely, and she does a lot of varieties of African prints, and she mixes them, and she does a fabulous job of it. I find her to be so art inspirational. So this is one of them that's made out of 2 different vintage sari silks, something similar to what I've seen that Cinnamon might match up. And being a voodoo priestess, she has her own little voodoo doll made out of silver and gold. She's very cute. She's kind of a whimsical little thing because we don't want to get too serious here. But let's talk about New Orleans voodoo and its place in history. The movie industry has done a pretty good job of villainizing many of our historical people like Marie Laveau. If you've seen American Horror Story, she's a pretty evil lady in American Horror Story version. However, the real Marie Laveau was a very, very renowned lady in New Orleans society, and she was very knowledgeable about medicines. And if you had an illness that could not be cured in a regular doctor's office, you could go see Miss Marie, and she might be able to help you out. So she was held in great esteem in New Orleans. And our good friend Cinnamon Black, who this doll celebrates, is also one of those people. She's just very iconic. She's a happy person. Just to spend some time around her, you find her to be very, very refreshing and inspirational. And so I love making versions of her. So this is the one that is available in the gallery right now with my signature Throw Me Something Mr. Mouth. Mischief dolls, I like to say, are all of the little people that you would see if you came to Mardi Gras in New Orleans. These are all the little characters that you're going to see in their costumes on the street, anywhere from fairies to Game of Thrones to Marie Laveau to the Vampires Masquerade Ball way up there in the red and the black, and gothic people, steampunk people. And of course you're going to see your Voodoo Priestess. So what's really neat about this girl though is that Cinnamon has signed her for me. So we took some leather, because it is hard to sign silk. Anything you sign on silk goes right through it, especially the vintage silks. Cinnamon signs her name with her zip code. She lives in zip code 70116. How inspiring. So here's a side view. And a back view. And another side view. She's very sassy. So this is how you would see Miss Cinnamon if she was strolling through the French Quarter on a busy day on her way to the Voodoo Museum with all her bling. Cinnamon has two of my dolls, and I want to tell you a little story about them. The day that I took them to the French Quarter to turn them over to her, there was one of them that kept jumping off of her reading table. And it really kind of creeped out some of the customers that were in the Voodoo Museum that day. But I think that doll was telling me that she wanted to stay there with Cinnamon and not come home with me. Anyway, I think it's time to make another version of Cinnamon. So look at this beautiful sari silk that I have here. Isn't that fabulous? I love sari silk because you're getting, in an old vintage sari like this, you're getting 25 feet of fabric, and it's impeccable silk fabric. So I think we're going to make another version of Cinnamon out of that. And then I also love this one. Because Cinnamon is a Mardi Gras Indian, she also likes Mardi Gras. And this is kind of going to be Mardi Gras Cinnamon, I think. So we're going to make two new versions. And with a little bit of luck, find some time when they're done to go down to the French Quarter, to the Voodoo Museum, and see my friend Cinnamon again and ask her if she might sign those two for me. So if you're interested in having a custom-made Cinnamon Black Voodoo Priestess doll, do let me know, and we will have some in process, and you might be able to customize her just a little bit if you get to me in time before I finish it myself. So this one that we have here is the only one available at the gallery right now. You can see her on my Etsy page at www.mischiefcreations.etsy.com. She is $725, so she's a pricey little gal, but she is signed by Cinnamon, so she will add some value to your home. She's great home decor, absolutely exquisite doll. Please check us out if you're in the New Orleans area and you're driving through Slidell, Louisiana. The Mischief Gallery is at Eclectic Finds by Art Deco Girl at 888 Old Spanish Trail in Slidell. We're just a hop, skip, and a jump off the interstate. We are open Wednesday through Sunday, 11 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Saturday and Sunday we're open 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. You can view all of the beautiful creations that are on display here at the gallery, and then pop back into my studio where they're actually created in the back corner of the building, and check the dolls out as they're being made. Thank you for viewing our video. Bye-bye.